What if Pokemon who evolved just once evolved twice? This is an interesting question that I've explored in a series on this channel, where I take some Pokemon that evolve one time and give them another evolution. Since you guys loved the last video in this series so much, I am here to do it again with some more awesome evolutions for some cool two-stage Pokemon. So today's video and its Fakemon quite literally have been made possible in part thanks to today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. These two are subscription boxes that bring treats directly from Japan right to your door every month. I get them each month myself, and honestly, they're a lot of fun and the treats are delicious. Each month, the boxes have a different theme that also bring different treats, and this month it's all about fall and Halloween. For Tokyo Treat, the theme is Halloween Snack Hall, and Sakura Co.'s theme is Kyoto's Crimson Leaves. They're filled with fun fall and Halloween snacks, and the Tokyo Treat box even has this Pokemon Choco Cake this month. It was delicious. I also loved the Autumn Pear Jelly from the Sakura Co. box, and it also came with this really nice piece of tableware, which the Sakura Co. boxes come with each month. So if you would like to try out these treats for yourself, or maybe even grab them for someone else as a gift, you can use my link in the description below to pick up a box today. And when you use code HOOPS at checkout, you'll also get $5 off your first box, and it directly supports the channel as well, which is very much appreciated. So be sure to check that out with the link in the description, and a big thank you to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. for supporting the channel. Okay, so the Pokemon we are going to be giving evolutions to today are Cubone and Marowak, Seel and Dewgong, and Electrike and Manectric. And we're going to kick things off with Cubone and Marowak. These two, especially Cubone, are one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time, and certainly one of the most popular and well-known two-stage Pokemon. Cubone's backstory of wearing its dead mother's skull on its head is just so sad yet so iconic that these Pokemon are prime candidates, in my opinion, to get another evolution, especially since Marowak definitely has some room to grow. Also, the artwork in this video of these designs that I'm about to show you was done by my good friend Oscar Belmonte, so be sure to check him out with the links in the description. With that said, I present to you Fausternum, the departed parent Pokemon. It is believed that Marowak evolve into Fausternum after they connect and bond with the spirit of their dead mother, which grants them new strength as well as the added Ghost typing, making Fausternum Ground Ghost. In addition to Cubone's iconic and tragic backstory though, as well as Marowak's room to grow, another reason why a Marowak evolution is such a good candidate to legitimately happen in my opinion is because it did at one point have a second evolution. Leaked beta materials from Pokemon Red and Green that were discovered a few years ago revealed that Marowak had an evolution that was essentially just like Kangaskhan, confirming the long-standing theory that these two families of Pokemon were once connected. So, since Marowak was robbed of an evolution, restoring it with a new evolution like Fausternum would not only be amazing, but it would also be very fitting. With Fausternum, I wanted to pay homage to that scrapped design while also making it its own thing, and also not too close to Kangaskhan, and the result is something that I feel like looks like a really natural evolution of Marowak and Cubone, and basically like what these Pokemon would look like if they were all grown up. Speaking of which, upon becoming strong, fully grown Pokemon, Fausternum will look out for Cubone who have lost their mothers and act as sort of a foster parent to them, which is where its name comes from. It also comes from sternum, which is the name of a bone, and obviously continues the bone theme of these Pokemon. In terms of its evolution method, in order to best replicate the concept of it bonding with its mother's spirit in order to evolve, I think Marowak could evolve into Fausternum when it learns a new move called Guardian Spirit as a Marowak, and then uses it in battle 20 times. Similar to the evolution methods of some newer Pokemon like Weirdeer and Annihilate. Guardian Spirit would be a ghost-type move that would protect the user from any move used against it, similar to Protect. Finally, Fausternum also has a new signature ability as well, known as Beyond the Grave. If Fausternum is sent into battle when the player has a Pokemon in their party who has fainted, Beyond the Grave will activate and the fainted Pokemon will be revived, with half of their HP restored in exchange for half of Fausternum's current HP, basically making it like an ability version of Revival Blessing, more or less. This would obviously be cool, viable, and it ties into these Pokemon's backstories all at the same time. So I feel like not only is Fausternum cool, but it also shows that a Marowak evolution could actually be possible, and that it also has a ton of potential. Okay, so we're going to save Electrike and Manectric for last, so let's go ahead and look at Seel and Dewgong next. It's pretty obvious that design-wise, these are some of the most boring, plain, vanilla, and uncreative Pokemon out there, and I think that they are in desperate need of something, and an evolution could be that something that could give them some pizzazz. Therefore, I have an evolution here that I would like you guys to meet, and its name is Narora. Narora is the Narwhal Pokemon, and it is my attempt at making these two a little less plain. Whenever I think about these guys, I always think of the Northern Lights for some reason. It's probably because they can learn the move Aurora Beam, but yeah, that's what always comes to mind for me when I think of these two. And given that they're plain white Pokemon anyway, a splash of color from the Aurora Borealis is just what they need, and is also extremely fitting, especially because Dewgong is also part Ice type. Upon evolving, Narora not only gains this Aurora aesthetic, but it also gains the Fairy type too to go along with that Ice type, because I just feel like that would fit perfectly, and again, adds to the pizzazz factor that these Pokemon need a ton of. Narora also gets its name from Aurora 2, because I could not bring myself to just name it after the animal like Seel and Dewgong, so I added in a slight amount of creativity and added Aurora to its name, along with Narwhal, the animal that it's based on. Since Seel is based on a seal and Dewgong is based on, well, a dugong, it made sense to base the evolution on another animal of at least a somewhat similar variety. And while narwhals are more like whales than seals or dugongs, they do have that horn that Dewgong and Seel have, which made it a good candidate in my opinion. And yeah, I know that it's actually a tooth on the narwhals, but it obviously resembles a horn more than anything. Realistically, Narora is kind of a narwhal-walrus hybrid, which again adds just a little bit of creativity to this creatively deprived Pokemon line, so I think it makes for a good fit. And while I don't think it would have to have any crazy new signature ability or anything like that, and could probably just carry over the same abilities from Seel and Dewgong, I think a fun way of having it evolve would be to level up Dewgong while knowing the move Aurora Beam, since it is obviously adding that Aurora element. Alright, let's go ahead and get into Electrike and Manectric now. I feel like these guys are kind of forgotten about, to be honest, despite being really cool Pokemon. You never really hear anyone mention or talk about them all that much, which seems kinda odd to me because they are pretty cool looking. So let's go ahead and give people something to talk about with these two by giving them a new evolution. This is Voltanium. Voltanium is the conductor Pokemon, and hence its category, is now an electric steel type. This typing came from the fact that Manectric's mouth is made to resemble the crocodile clips that are used on things like jumper cables, and I personally think that's a really cool detail of its design, so I just took that concept and fleshed it out a bit more with an added typing. I know what you may be thinking with this though. Manectric would never get an evolution for real because it has a Mega Evolution. Well, while that may be correct at the moment, there's nothing stopping Game Freak from breaking that rule. They certainly have been breaking a lot of their own previously established rules in recent years, and I think something like this would also just add a fun dynamic to things. Like, do you want to keep your Manectric unevolved so you can use its Mega Evolution, or do you want to evolve it instead into Voltanium and get that added strength along with the added steel typing? I think that sort of decision making would add a really fun wrinkle into the games, so I would be all for a Manectric evolution, especially if it could look like Voltanium. The name also comes from its two typings as well, originating from Volt and Titanium, which ironically is not exactly a good conductor of electricity, admittedly, but it does make the name sound really cool, and I needed a cool name when it's got a design like this. Ability-wise, I think it would be fine for it to keep the static or lightning rod abilities of its pre-evolutions, but if we really wanted to give it a new ability, we could give it something that I am going to refer to as Supercharge, which would be similar to Lightning Rod, but naturally would be a supercharged version of it that would be fitting of a final evolution. I imagine that Supercharge could up both the special attack and speed stats of Voltanium if it is hit with an electric type move, and I don't know if that crosses the line into busted territory, but it sounds pretty cool, so I'm gonna roll with it. Finally, I think Voltanium could also evolve from Manectric while leveling it up while holding a metal coat. Now comes the big question though. If one of these could exist for real, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments below, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more if you're new. If you want to support the channel further, be sure to check out my Pokemon remixes on Spotify, as well as on other streaming services, because that helps out a ton and is very much appreciated. With that said, I will be back very soon with another video. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.